Hey, you guys, so today we are working on our first step when it comes to writing. So when we start writing, the first thing that you guys have got to write is your thesis statement. So we're going to take a few notes on this. The way that this normally will work is I'm going to want to look at your thesis statement. So when you're done writing your thesis statement, instead of moving on to the next step, you got to get that approved by me, at least to begin with. The first couple of essays, I want to approve it. But I want to go over what a thesis statement is and what are the components of it. And I'm also going to give you some resources on where to find more information about thesis statements should you have to work on it at home. Okay, see you guys. Oh, so fill out your table of contents and get your two next pages all filled out, and then I will see you in just a few minutes. Okay, so you already should have the date that you took these notes, and then I want it to say thesis statement, and make sure you have your page number. Make sure you have it on both sides because you never know when you're going to need both. Okay, so today is not going to be a ton of notes. Okay, so thesis statement. You need this foldable. Okay, this is all it says. Okay, so this is all you need to tape in, and I taped it straight down, okay? So just like usual, we're going to start with a definition at the top. Okay, thesis. Okay, so thesis statement. Here's the deal with the thesis statement. The thesis statement is honestly, it's one sentence, that tells what your entire essay is going to be about. Okay? So what I've also included, and we're going to talk about this, is what makes it a good thesis statement. So these are the things that you absolutely need to have within a good thesis statement. Okay? First, it needs to be a single declarative sentence. Okay? It needs to convey the main idea, provide focus by highlighting key points, establish the essay's purpose, and include strong verbs and precise words. Okay, so here's some other things that we need to make sure. When you establish the essay's purpose, make sure you include the title and author. Okay. And now I'm going to show you some other resources, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, okay? So here's what I'm pulling out. I am pulling out Mrs. Thompson's Survival Guide. Okay, so this is the other place that you can go other than your ISN for when you guys are working on thesis statements. Now I'm going to go to this red page. The red page means it's the writing handbook. And then I'm going to go to the table of contents. Okay, so do you see this very last one where it says include strong verbs and precise words? If you look in here, I have analytical verbs on page 33. So we're going to look at that. But I want us to put down in here that here, page 33 in writing handbook. Okay, so that way you know where to go for it. So I'm going to turn, and it's going to be right here. Okay? When you go to write your thesis statement, okay, you're going to need to put a verb in there, obviously, otherwise it would not be a complete sentence. Okay? I have given you a list of really great verbs. Okay? If you have one of these in here, it's going to make an extremely powerful thesis statement. Now, you can't just throw whatever, so you might have to look up what some of these mean. You might have to talk to me about it or play with it. Try it out, bring it up to me, say, hey, Mrs. Thompson, does this verb work with what I'm trying to do? And then we'll probably have a conversation about it. But page 33 in your writing handbook, page 33 has a list of strong verbs, okay? So this is really a good place to go when you are looking for a verb, okay? So helping you out there. Then the next thing I have in here, okay, it's on page 42. Okay, for some odd reason, this did not get changed this year. So this video will have to be re-recorded for next year. But a claim statement and a thesis statement are the exact same things. Put in a little yellow mark so I can make sure I change this for next year so it says thesis statement. Okay, so if you look, I even have the exact same definition. Okay, but really what I want you guys to pay attention to is some things that you need to understand. So our claim statements, why do we need one? Okay, this is why you need one. Basically, it tells me as your teacher what you're going to be writing about. If you don't tell me up front, then I don't know what you're proving. Okay, if it's not a teacher and it's somebody else reading it, you've already hooked them in your hook, which you will be doing soon. If they don't know what this essay is going to be about, what's the point of keep reading? Okay, so you've got to put it right there early on. What is the point? Okay, that is why we have a thesis statement in the introduction. What am I going to be reading about? What am I going to learn? Okay, if you don't tell us up front, nobody's going to read it. Okay, so down here then even I have like some different examples. So I have tornadoes are dangerous. They cause more monetary damage to communities than any other type of weather. I'm saying it's not great. Here's a better one. Tornadoes are dangerous because they cause more monetary damage to communities than any other type of weather. The difference here, this is 2 sentences, this one's 1. I want it 1 sentence, okay? Here's another not great one. In Tears of a Tiger by Sharon Draper, I think Andy needs to continue to see a counselor. Okay, here's a better one. In Tears of a Tiger, there's another typo. My goodness, Mrs. Thompson. This should be italicized. Okay, In Tears of a Tiger by Sharon Draper, Andy needs to continue to see a counselor for his depression. Here's the difference. You ready? I don't want you to say I. So do you see where it says no personal pronouns? Don't say I think Andy. Just say Andy needs. Okay, don't say I think. No personal pronouns. Okay, ready? Damage is done to football players' brains every year. Okay, that's not great. Okay, this doesn't give me a ton of information, you guys. Here's a better one. Football is America's most dangerous sport due to the increase in concussions and long-term damage. Obviously, I'm going to learn about how dangerous football is, and mostly it's going to be focusing on concussions and the long-term damage of it. So do you see where the second version is clearer and makes a claim? This is just telling me the damage is done to brains every year. I don't know what from. Like, I have no idea that concussions are involved. I don't expect, once again, I don't expect your first thesis statement to be perfect. I expect it to be a good try. Here's what Mr. Fuller doesn't realize is that I can splice myself out. Okay, last page I want you guys to look at is an example essay on page 57. Okay, so here's the example essay that I have. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that right here is our thesis statement in Sharon Draper's Tears of a Tiger, because that's another thing I want. I want you to make sure you have the author and the title. Okay, then tell me what you're going to prove to me. If someone would have answered Andy, he would not have committed suicide the next day. And then if you read the rest of the essay, the person proves that if somebody would have answered the call, he would not have committed suicide. Okay, so those are all examples, and that's what makes a good thesis statement. So here's some options for you. Okay, I just went through here. I just gave you some good thesis statements. You might want to go back into this survival guide on like the things that I pointed out and write them down in here. So take those extra notes if you need to, okay? Okay, so your job is going to be to write a thesis statement for the essay that we're going to be writing. So the essay is over the short story, Thank You, Ma'am, okay? So you're going to give me a thesis statement. That is all I need you to come in with tomorrow is a thesis statement written, okay? That is your first job tonight. So look at your notes and write that thesis statement. Make sure you have Langston Hughes and Thank You, Ma'am in there in that thesis statement, okay? And then answer the question that I have given you.